and welcome to the Horror House Podcast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Chris. We are two dudes that like
We are
to
two
talk
dudes dressed like nuns.
about horror. Sometimes, when able to talk, period. This week we're talking 2006, a little remake from 2006, The Hills Have Eyes, which I'm kind of shocked we haven't talked about earlier, because I'll tell you straight up, this is one of my more favorable remakes from that era of remakes, which there was a plenty.
This is a good one. Oh yeah, that case seems to go in cycles.
Yeah,
A lot of remakes and they slow down. A lot of remakes. So,
I feel like
yeah, this is a
big boom in remakes. Like, I don't know if it was Texas Chainsaw that started the kind of boom of this, or if it was just like the biggest one at the time, but this followed it up a few years later, 3 years later, I want to say. I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre was 2003, maybe 2002. This being 2006. But before we get into that, Dave.
Yeah.
Tell everybody where you've been, who you've seen, the sites you've seen.
I went with frequent guest host on the show, Jeff, to the Horror Hound convention in Indianapolis yesterday, day one, and I got to be honest, this is my first convention. I was a newbie, but now my cherry's been popped, and I loved it. It was so good.
And who did you witness? Who did you bear witness to?
I saw Booker T.
King Booker?
Let's see. Yeah, Booker T. I saw Booker T. I saw several of the smaller cast from Jason 5 and 6, Nightmare on Elm Street. I saw is it Griffin and Naughton, for the two boys who played in American Werewolf in London.
Oh, right,
and
right.
Oh yeah, a little dude you may have heard of named Tom fucking Savini.
And you actually got...
I did get to interact with him. I purchased a print. He autographed it in front of me, and then if you do that, then you can come around the booth, sit down next to him, get a selfie. So as I'm coming around the booth, his young British girl there was like, "Give Tom your phone, and he'll take the selfie." And so I did, and Tom Savini used my phone to get a selfie with me. I mean, technically, he took a selfie with me. So,
even more than the autograph or anything,
was
the fact that Tom Savini used your phone has literally broken a piece of my brain. It's irreparable. I am, mind blown. Like, it's actually broken. It's not blown. It's completely just broken. And that's crazy.
I mean, I'm the same. I feel the same way. It was just kind of surreal. He doesn't look like he's aged maybe just a couple years since Dusk Till Dawn. He's super fucking tan. He just seems so cool. And it's Tom. He's wearing the Tom Savini outfit, the white shirt and a black leather vest. I mean, that's Tom Savini. Like, I don't think that's his clothes. I think that's his skin. He was.
You will have to.
Cool. Everybody really was.
Share the photo on Twitter or on somewhere where the rabble can check it out.
If you're following on Slasher, you've seen the photo. You've had the opportunity to see the photo if you friended us on Slasher.
There you have it.
Almost had a near miss with Lloyd Kaufman. He didn't make it to the convention yesterday. His plane was delayed, so he's showing up today. He's in a movie called called Valentine Bluffs. I bought a Blu-ray autographed on the cover by Savini and by stars Mike Sutton and Tom Smith, the writer, director, producer. Talked to them at length. Talked to the guy that plays the miner in the new one at length. He said that, of course, they're going to pump themselves up. But he said that a lot of people have told them this barely qualifies as a fan. Like, it's written as a direct sequel to the original My Bloody Valentine, with some Easter eggs for the remake as well. But, due to licensing, they have to be clear that it's a fan film because they don't have the license. So, but it was super cool, and had a long talk with the two of the jump rope girls from Friday the Third or Nightmare on Elm Street. God dang, I'm dumb. I'm dumb. Two of the jump rope girls from Nightmare on Elm Street, sisters. Their dad was a friend of Wes Craven's, because that's how I asked them, like, how did you get the opportunity to do that? And one of them, the older of the two, also had a cameo in Shocker.
Really?
So
Okay.
Asked them how they got to do that, and they're like, well, we were kids, and one day our Uncle Wes said, how would you guys like to be in a little movie I'm shooting? And so Dad said it was okay, and he put us in the movie, and Dad was working on the movie too. Dad is Anthony Ciceri, who pioneered the less bulky Nomex suit. I mean, he had stories from the industry. It was so cool to talk to him. He almost died doing the Stay Puft Marshmallow burn because the mask cracked. He did the burn in Nightmare on Elm Street, and he talked about having to help design the stairs so there were no hard edges, so that he couldn't rip his Nomex suit. But it's done with no oxygen. Like, he just has to hold his breath for the suit. And the story he told for that was super cool. He said he's chasing the Heather Langenkamp stunt double up the stairs, gets hit with the door, knocked back down the stairs, and then in the theatrical cut, it kind of ends there. But in life, he jumped back up. He says, I always are trying to just give them an extra to work with. They can cut what they want. So he jumps up and starts running back up the stairs. But he said, I got about halfway up the stairs when the adrenaline faded and my brain clicked in and said, hey, dummy, there's no one up there to put you out. So then he quickly jumped back down the stairs so he could be put out. And he did the original Terminator. And he said the fire and the explosion at the end, he said he did that. And he thought, like, okay, that's cool. I'm the last scene of the movie. He didn't know that now a robot, a.k.a. Stan Winston, is going to come out of the fire and continue its pursuit. So he was super cool. He had the actual heads that he wore for Nightmare on Elm Street 1.
Really?
For Scream. And for The Thing.
Wow.
So, I mean, and like I said, everybody was so fucking cool. Just to, everybody willing to sit and fucking bullshit with, man. So.
Very nice.
It was super cool. I really think, I mean, I know we got some dickheads out in the horror community, but that's, less than the general population.
When you bring them into the real world and a big glob of fans from a certain thing, those are typically from my experiences, the cool ones. The other ones are just like trolly, like, I can't look at the direct sunlight. My incelness burns.
It's always a red flag to me if you're like, I don't like horror. I only like, the Pizza Party Massacres or whatever it is.
It was straight to VHS. It wasn't even straight to VHS. It was straight to Betamax. You maybe haven't heard of
it. Copyright that title, by the way. Chris, get on that.
It was real.
We're doing it. It sounds good enough. It may be, but I don't
There's
know.
a lot of different
I've never
avenues
heard
for
of
that. There's a lot of different avenues.
Yeah.
Well, I guess speaking of Wes Craven, is there any other things you want to talk about Horror Hound before we turn over to the Hills?
If you get a chance this year, next year, in the future, in Indy, around somewhere else, because this is a traveling convention. If you get a chance, do it. It was so fun to connect with fans. I mean, we talked to so many people, vendors and artists and mask makers, and people just selling DVDs and T-shirts and other fans, and I mean, it was amazing. It's an amazing experience.
Yes, I'm going next time. I don't give a shit. I'm putting it in podcast stone right now. I don't care if I got
holding to it, Rabble.
It's like, why didn't Chris go? Yeah, he's had to have both of his legs removed. So see, it'll be something like that. It'll be something like that.
No excuse. Autorize that shit and get in a wheelchair, motherfucker. So listen, I'm not shaming the fan at all. I want the rabble to know I'm shaming Chris here. There was some dude. He was probably 6'8" and weighed 100 pounds, walking with like crutches, while somebody pushed his wheelchair with his oxygen tank behind it and walked through all the crowds and made it, Chris. So,
all right,
man up.
Both if I lose both my legs, the day up, I will still make it.
And I'm sorry, sir, I'm calling you out on here and for knocking you down when you got in the way of the Swamp Thing wearable costume. I fucking had to see it. I had to knock you down. I'm sorry. You would be proud, Chris. The masks, so many of them. I talked to the creators, like the people making the mask, and so many of them looked wet.
Nice.
And you would have been in heaven. I think I sent you the picture. If not, I will send it, of the wearable Frank,
yes.
Like the chest and head, and it looks wet. And I didn't want. They were like, "Yeah, come on in and touch him." I was like, "No, I'm a clumsy boob. I'll knock something down." And the girl working the booth grabbed a mask off the shelf, and she's like this, and just dropped it. I was like, "Oh, I would do worse damage than that." And then she started running back and forth in the booth, just touching the masks. And she's like, come here, get back here and touch a damn mask. I had to, so I finally did.
Well, she's awesome. She sounds like pure. What is it? Chaotic good.
Chaotic good. Yes, she was a chaotic good. Definitely.
Yeah, the mask you showed me, it looked like what it looks Flayed Frank, I think it said. I'm like, that's cool. That's cool. I didn't even think about the wetness. I'm gonna have to look at it again.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much. It was so cool, man. And like I said, the best part was just talking to everybody, and it was great. Great. We had a good time. Jeff and I walked down to the district tap room and got some food and some beers, and then walked back. And yeah, it was a good time was had.
That's cool. Till next time, Horror Hound. We're going. We're going. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. We're going. Come hell or amputated legs.
Book it. Oh, that's the program where you get free pizza. No,
that is one of the avenues for Pizza Party Massacre, by the way. But that may be too wild.
What if that's how he becomes a killer? Like, he got free pizzas from reading. He got the free pizza coupon, and his mom would never take him to redeem the free pizza.
Yeah.
And his mom's like, pizza is the devil.
Or maybe she only liked Domino's, because that was a Pizza Hut program.
It was.
Yeah,
it was.
Look, it was. Or here it was.
No, I think it was all over. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Matt earned book it coupons and Jackie. So yeah,
We probably have to call it something different.
we spent many
Or we
evenings
get some litigation against us.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
That said, you were speaking of Wes Craven, and this is a remake of a Wes Craven movie. Let's talk Some Hills Have Eyes. 2006. I got ready to say 2026. That would have been quite correct.
Oh,
That's a different thing.
time is a flat circle. I haven't watched this in a while. So I watched it for the show this week. I had not watched it in a while. I have to admit, it's not clearly not something I forgot, because I'm watching it. I'm just thinking, when they're in the gas station and stuff, I'm just thinking, you poor bastard. Don't even know what's waiting for you.
I forgot some of the deaths.
It was hard. It was hard.
Gory, violent. I saw one review that was talking about torture porn. It's like, this is the definition of torture porn. I'm like, I don't know that I got that far, but I don't know that I could either disagree. So maybe it kind of is.
Tom Bauer, the gas station attendant.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anyone born to play the gas station attendant in a horror movie more than this guy?
He certainly fits the role very succinctly. It's one of them nights. He's very good at it.
It's one of them words. He's great at it. He could do that in. He'd fit in with the Cabin in the Woods. Friday the 13th.
Was
it's him and maybe Dick Warlock. You could put them in any horror movie and find a spot for them.
Yeah.
Like the voice of reason, don't go that way. Although in this, it's kind of turned on his head, because he clearly doesn't want to fuck with the family anymore. But then feels like he has to save his own.
But I mean, you get how long? You guess he's been doing it for a long time. I feel like. So I mean, at the same time, I don't feel sorry for him, because it's like, you've been doing it this long. You're gonna wait till you're an old man to try to get out of this, and feel sorry. I made your bed, sir.
After you sent this family with their baby,
yeah, because the one daughter maybe saw something you could have been up to. Yeah. Oh God, she saw some jewelry I maybe stole. I better have them all killed.
Yeah. How close are the cops? You had time to hide that shit. You did not have to kill everybody.
Well, to be fair, I think this is supposed to take place in New Mexico, and I've seen some videos about some New Mexican police officers that like to pull you over and be like, "Oh, was this your money?" It's not anymore.
Yeah. We're confiscating the money. Which is that's a whole nother horror, the horror of neo-militaristic law enforcement. But I don't think old gas station attendant, they couldn't even give him a fucking name. I don't think that he had much to worry about.
Yeah.
The family is a little bit they're a little bit dicks. I mean, there's a little bit of like brothers and sisters and brothers and brothers. They're going to pick on each other a little bit.
Yeah.
A
little bit upper class, trying to pretend that they're not, in a way, by road tripping.
Right.
Like,
Big Bob, he's the conservative, like macho guy, and Doug's the liberal, not macho guy.
Oh,
But he's also kind of smug asshole.
oh yeah.
At the start, like, don't tell your sister I'm smoking here, and trying to get his, the boy to smoke with him.
I thought that was like, he's like, what if what if Big Bob catches you smoking in his trailer? He's like, fuck Bob. What about my sister? Fuck your sister. But like, it takes a good portion of the movie until he actually tries to live up to being tough, which is, you know, I wouldn't say funny, but yeah. And I think what's the Aaron Stanford, is that his name?
Yes.
Who I knew of from a couple of the older X-Men movies. But I was reading the director of this, who we'll get onto in a minute, probably looks like fucking brothers. They look so much alike. I read something, I think it was one of the IMDb like trivia things or something, and it was saying Alex Aja or Aja. My apologies if I'm butchering it. But saying that is like the spitting image, very reminiscent of the director, Aaron Safford, being reminiscent of the director. But I saw,
I can see that he's a little heavier.
Yeah, I saw I started watching a behind the scenes thing, and for a second I thought it was Doug, the character, and I'm like, okay. Oh wait, no, that's the director. Who, Dave? I don't know if you know this. Directed High Tension.
And nice, a movie we have talked about.
I mean, he's done some shit, and to look at this again and have watched it several times since it came out, to now know that the guy that made High Tension made this, I'm like, I can weirdly kind of see it now in ways. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of High Tension. I thought it was okay. I've only watched it once. But I do see some parallels in the way it's shot, and maybe some of the production design-y kind of stuff.
I didn't know that, because High Tension falls into that, isn't it, that French extremist horror is how I've always associated it, and I could be just dumb, and I am frequently. I don't want to move on from Aaron Stanford too quick. I just want to give him a shout out for playing my dude James Cole in the 12 Monkeys TV series.
Okay.
We talked about that show a lot. I like that show. It was
I have
good.
Reached the Monkeys.
It gets a little convoluted at the end when they're trying to. When you're making that show, like every season, you got to branch it out further, and then when it's time to end, you had to quickly, trim off those branches and bring everything together. So it's
and
it's that's always tough, but it's a good show, and he was good. I
liked him as Pyro in the older X-Men movies, but I've not watched them in as long. So also, Aja directed Crawl, dude. Piranha 3D, Horns. I didn't realize that he had done all this. Mirrors from 2008 with Kiefer Sutherland.
I just saw some clips from that today that just were on like random horror movie clips that I saw, and I was like, we should do Mirrors. I haven't seen it maybe since it came out. I've seen it once, but I vaguely remember kind of thinking it was.
No, I can't remember which one Piranha 3D was, because there was one.
That was the one with the Hoff in it, I think. Isn't Hasselhoff in that one?
I don't remember. Is it the one that has
Jerry O'Connell, Dean Grimes, Elizabeth Shue?
This was like the remake for Piranha, but they put the 3D on because that was that era.
Eli Roth.
I really liked this. I really liked what he did with that too. So Alexandre Aja. We'll just say Alex Aja.
Yeah, way to go, AA.
We're gonna have to do some more down the rabbit hole that he's created.
And I mean,
because I like everything that I've watched of his, so you should just check the rest of it out.
But did you watch The Ninth Life of Louis Drax?
God bless you. I've never met him. She sounds wonderful.
No, I don't.
I'm using up all my bullets. I got nothing left. But yeah, going back to the family and the normal characters, I felt like they all kind of worked, like as the characters they were acting as. I didn't feel like anybody was out of place. The baby was a little bit of a prima donna. I'll say that much.
Yeah, what a bitch. I will say, like, Buffalo Bill bleeds through in Big Bob, and I will fight to say that
he was Buffalo Bill.
I'm 99% sure.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm getting brain damage this episode. Holy shit. There's so many different connections being formed that
space is a flat circle.
Yes.
Space-time movies. Yeah, we're all in the loop here. We're all part of the same film. Being played against the
cosmos.
Sure
if I looked at Ted Levine's rest of his movies he's done, I'll see something that'll get me out of that loop, but I really just know him as Big Bill from this. Because I mean he does that like big conservative guy role really good, and then his death is super hot. Fun. Where's the monkey with the drum?
That's
monkey. Okay. But
yeah, I mean, here's some other movies if you're trying to associate him: Shutter Island, Heat, Wild Wild West.
I don't know of him in any of these. I ain't down you. I'm
a big fan of Wild Wild West. It is such a fun movie.
I don't think I have.
And Shutter Island, I think is great. We should do it on the show sometime.
Yes.
So Heat, I mean, Joyride, he's Rusty Nail.
Not Joyride. I was thinking
Come On Back, Candy Cane.
I don't think I've seen that, actually. I think I've seen parts of it, but I don't think I've seen the whole thing. That has I'm getting off on a tangent. We'll need to watch Joyride too, because I've never watched that one.
That has Paul Walker.
No, the comedy sidekick.
Steve
Zahn. Yep, that's who I was shooting for.
Yeah. We might have to do that. So Ted Levin's in it, but I'm pretty sure you don't ever see his face.
Really? Intriguing.
Yeah.
All right.
He's just the voice on the other end of the CB.
Now to keep going on down the line, we get into do you call them mutants? I mean, are just, what do you call these people?
I think the movies like sets up that they're mutated by the years of generations of living in this toxic environment.
The makeup is really good in this.
Greg Nicotero.
And Nicotero gets a role as Cyst. Not a big character, but I think a pretty coolly designed character with like the brace, the bucket, whatever you call that, to like hold his unstable head in place.
Yeah,
that stack of dimes he calls a neck.
It looked very. The what came to my mind was Cyborg Toxic Avenger. So
The when we get more towards the end, I think we'll talk about her more. But the young girl that is like Little Red Riding Hood, Ruby is a Ruby her name?
Ruby.
Gets such a raw end of the stick in this movie. Like she is maybe the nicest person in the movie.
Yeah,
and gets nothing for it. But again, subtle makeup on her. Maybe it was just CGI because I read something that the children actors, rather than doing prosthetics, they did CGI on them, or at least a big portion of it was CGI for like the kid actors. Which
it doesn't show her face a whole lot, but I thought she looked good.
And then there's the one little girl that's like when Doug is like trying to make a break for it after he's in the village, and she's like, "Will you play with us, mister?" And her face looks like half melted. I'm pretty sure that's a CGI thing, but I would have. I mean, it looks crazy to me that I thought maybe it was just real. This is 2006. I didn't know we was getting CGI that was that good then.
Yeah, especially when we can't get it looking that good now.
The CGI in this looks better than some of the latest superhero offerings. And I have a feeling they're making hand over fist more than this did.
It's downplayed CGI on purpose. It's more artistic that way if we don't make it look good.
Oh my god. It looks like N64 graphics because that's what they were going for. Speaking of that, a lot of the KMBFX, designed a lot of the makeup digitally with ZBrush, like the 3D modeling and stuff like that, and then fitted that to the actors' faces. So rather than making molds of their faces and having to, go that route, they've made the makeup before they even did that. I don't even know if they had to make molds for their face, really. They probably did. I'm talking shit. But, the makeup's it's broad daylight for a good portion, and it's out there, and I couldn't tell you a problem I have with it.
Hiding.
Yeah.
How about the brutality of the initial attack on the family?
They come out guns blazing.
How does that? Yeah, I mean, it does not fuck around.
I mean, it kind of. I think it makes sense because like they get the big distraction by setting the dad on fire, and then, I mean, I think the goal is to no survivors, get in there, get out, do your fucking worst. So to do all of that, I mean, yeah, and it is fucking crazy. Like there's so much going on. And then as they're going to check on the dad, the thing with the birds, right? The parakeets or whatever the shit they are. Apparently Aja at one point wanted that to be way more brutal and to use kittens in a blender with milk that the mutants would then share amongst themselves. But Wes Craven put a stop to that and said, no, let's not do that. I think that could maybe lead to people copycatting some weird shit. So let's not do that one. So
I'm glad you brought up the bird because it disturbed my core.
Really?
And not even because birds aren't real. It disturbed my core because there's something fucked up about a family that would take a bird.
Multiple birds. There was 2 or 3, right? I think.
Yeah, it's unnecessary. Unnecessary. You don't have to. It's like cats. Don't take your cat on vacation. You don't have to. I'm going to piss off cat people here, so you can put them on the board. There's no need to take your cat on vacation. When we always had cats when I was growing up, we would just leave them at home when we left for vacation, and they always gained weight while we were gone and not feeding them. So Yeah, there's no sense. But birds, especially, there's no sense. Has a bird ever ate itself to death? No. Put a pile of bird seed in the bottom of the cage and leave, and they'll be fine.
Or I'll one up you and say, just don't own a bird. I fucking hate birds.
I would definitely say that. I was offered one recently.
God, no.
Oh, would you like a parrot? His name's Mikey, and he'll walk with you, and no. I mean, I got the cage, and you can have it all for free.
Bird's name could be Susan Snyder.
Oh, but if you go to buy a bird, it costs whatever.
Yeah, no, thanks. We've had a couple in my lifetime. Well, as a teenager, and I hated every fucking second of having a bird in the house. I hated it. Never again.
Stella had one when we first dated, and it had mental illness.
That may have been one of the ones that we wound up with.
Probably.
And I have heard tale of it since. I mean, it's been a long time, but every time I'm like, I don't care where that bird is. I don't care who has that bird as long as I don't have it. That's literally all that matters to me. We really went off on a fuck bird tangent. But it's fair.
Well, I mean, if there's one thing I am an expert on, it's bird law.
Check out Dave's birdlawblaw.com.
Check out it's a bird law blog. It's called Winging a Prayer.
That's not your autobiography of becoming a bird lawyer?
No, that is the church I founded. That is firmly anti-bird.
Oh, and you're just now telling me about this? We're almost 6 seasons in. You're telling me about this now? You could have sold me on that easier than...
I believe there is a lost book of the Bible where Jesus said, birds creep me out, man.
Why don't they shut the fuck up? I will, to keep it in line, the dogs in this. So I've watched this several times since it first came out. I knew the dogs' names were Beauty and Beast. I didn't realize until watching it for this show. Oh, like Beauty and the Beast. I get it. It took me this long.
Okay.
I have nothing to say for myself other than that I am special stupid, like uniquely qualified for the stupidity that I own.
I think killing pets crosses a line with a lot of people. Like, you can kill the people, that's fine. Mm-hmm. You kill a pet, you've crossed the line for a lot of people.
Right.
I feel like having 2 dogs and killing one of them off really, like the first time you watch it, it really makes you feel uneasy about what's going to happen to everyone. Like, nobody's safe.
Mm-hmm.
They do a good job of making sure that you feel that way. Nobody's safe. Big Bob, the protector, gone.
The first one, gone. Really?
Mom, Ethel, gone.
Kathleen Quinlan,
baby mom,
who we just talked about last week in Event Horizon. I didn't realize she was in both these. So continue.
The baby's mom. Like, you got a baby. Of course the mom's going to survive, because who's going to look out for the baby? Nope. Mom is gone.
Back to back.
Yeah, that's just...
It's brutal.
It is. Yeah.
But it doesn't hit the same kind of brutality notes that something like a Hostel at the time would for me. So when somebody says, oh, this is torture porn, I'm like, I get what you're saying, but I'm not really on. I don't have both feet in on this ride yet. It is brutal. And I mean, killing animals, I agree. But I mean, these are like inbred, like outlanders. I feel like that's the least of what they, it's like a dog that, like, there's people out in the country right now that would shoot somebody else's dog if it crossed their property.
I mean, just this summer there was somebody who shot a kid because a basketball came into their
there was a girl
yard.
playing hide and seek that got like some of that is crazy. So I never got that bothered by. I mean, if like obviously like the real animal cruelty, like in Cannibal Holocaust and stuff like that, is ridiculous and stupid, and it shouldn't ever happen. That's just gross and nasty and depraved. But like this, I do wonder what the makeup effects artist that has to work on that thinks while they're doing it. Like, oh, living the dream.
Okay, so there we go. Let's go to the next line that gets crossed in this movie. They killed a dog. That's one thing, but they rape. And it's not necessarily graphic, but it is disturbing.
Yeah.
In its portrayal, and it's just
how I mean, I a lot of those like 70s exploitation kind of movies, which from Craven, will show very similar kind of things for rape scenes, and they're fucking uneasy. Like uneasy is not the word. Disturbing. And I feel like this is, I wouldn't say more. It's a different kind of disturbing to me because the daughter is screaming, but then he like bashes her head to like, not really even maybe knock her out, but like that clearly didn't work. But like she's out of it either way, and then is able to proceed. And I'm like, ugh. But then he is like making weird noises and stuff. It's so, and it's so short too. I mean, the once it does happen, like it starts and then they move on to I think tearing the dad down from the fire or the pyre or whatever. But yeah, have you seen the original? Because I still have not, honestly. So I don't know the parallels.
I don't know that I have. I've seen stills from it. I've seen the poster.
Berryman.
Yep.
We may have to do that coming up, just to, if we've never seen it. What do you think of the little brother character? I mean, he's
starts out annoying as fuck. It's, but I mean, I don't think it's totally unbelievable, except that they're a little bit old to be annoying each other in that way.
Right.
That's more of that's a 10-year-old brother thing. He does feel like he's raised by Big Bob. Like, he gets the gun and, hey, I'm going to shoot somebody. I'm going to take care of this. I got this. But then he loses shit and has to gather himself. And at the end, comes through with a plan and, to kill Jupiter. Is it Jupiter?
Is that Jupiter? Honestly, I didn't even know they had names till I was watching it this time. Or Goggle.
Yeah, and I wasn't 100% sure whose name went with who.
But I mean, obviously, when you talk about a character arc in this movie, everyone will talk about Doug and that. But I think he's got, like you were saying, he's got his own little arc that he goes through, and I don't think the sister, the blonde sister, whose name I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember the boys either. I think she just has to deal with the trauma. Like I don't know how you have a character arc with that in such a short time. Like that's not a. But like I don't know. I just like most of everything. The only character I don't like, I'll put it that way, is the slooped over, melting looking kind of mutant that explains their whole backstory to Doug.
Is that the one they call Big Brain, because one of them is
It
called
has to be
Big
then.
Brain.
It has to be.
Yeah,
It has to be. But like that, I didn't think that acting was good enough for what it was. Like if you're only getting, if you have to deliver like this big chunk of story, that's really not even needed. Then you need somebody that's going to be able to really do it good. And I don't think it was. I would say that's probably my least favorite moment of the movie. The makeup is cool. I think the character looks really cool and it's really nasty, but the delivery of the lines is just like what it didn't hit.
I the family, this family, these are so brutal. It's hard to believe that someone's so dependent that they would continue to care for that person.
And not just, yeah.
Yeah. That's so that I didn't like that. That kind of made me feel like.
Well, I mean, there's that, and then the one that Nicotero played that had like the brace and stuff. Like you'd have to think getting that big hoss up to that level, while having the whatever kind of physical problems it was born with, has to be like. Why they seem like the types that they just eat it if it was that severely wrong.
Right. They're not putting the resources into training them up and protecting them.
Any other?
I did not recognize that was Greg Nicotero.
I didn't either. Reading this, I saw that it said, and Greg Nicotero assists. And I'm like, these things have names? I never knew they had names. I remember the guy saying goggles.
And Ruby.
Yeah. His name was Lizard.
Calls Ruby's.
I do believe, if I am remembering right. I've closed my IMDb. But I think he was Lizard. That actor, by the way, I had just the prior year, 2005, we saw him as kind of the sidekick in Land of the Dead, in Romero's Land of the Dead. He was the kind of the sidekicky character that had the burns on one side of his face. He was kind of like a sharpshooty kind of character. So to go from a really kind of a sad character,
well loved, nice guy,
to like a super despicable character in the very next movie you've probably seen of him. That's where I came from, and I was like, ugh. Why you got to be so mean like that? I don't care for that. He was a good guy.
I
bring the zombies back.
I mean, I think it speaks to how well the character is, but I didn't. But not because he's not well acted, or because he didn't have a good. He's despicable to me, and so I mean,
yeah,
a testament to the character that I like so much. He's my least favorite. Like the one big dude when they're in the trailer raping.
That looks.
It almost was like
Unmasked Jason from Part 2 or something.
Yeah. It's like, oh, he's just kind of simple. He's not gonna hurt nobody.
Yeah.
But
I think that's interesting too, because I thought the same thing, and still watching it, like he has here and there, I'll have a moment where it's like he just was raised by these people that are like this is what he knows to do, and they tell him to do it. Otherwise, I don't think he would do it. Like he sees the baby, and he's like, "Baby," you know. And there's a couple moments like that where he's kind of innocent and simple, and that he makes me feel a different kind of sad. But then he does horrible things himself, so you can't feel too sad.
Yeah. At some point, you gotta grow up and live your own life.
Yeah.
Leave behind the ways you were taught as a child. Do better.
Yeah. But I mean, any other aspects of the movie that you want to hit on before we skedaddle?
I do have an issue with when they get the flat tires on the truck when Big Bob's driving.
Uh-huh.
he continues to lay on the gas and fly, even though he is swerving out of control, has no traction, and so Big Bob learn how to drive when things go wrong. Get off the gas, come to a stop. You're hauling that big ass trailer. You don't even have to brake that hard. You come off the gas, and you're going to slow down just fine.
Maybe that's like,
So,
go big or go home. Like his conservative Bob. So maybe that's all he knew.
oh my God, I have no traction. I better floor it.
I mean, checks out. That kind of checks out. Oh God! So I've been watching the movie. Not watching it, but I have it playing on my other screen. I just got to the big attack scene and the trailer thing. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off since we're nearing the climax of our episode. Don't want to end on that kind of a note. So, okay. I'm shaking it off before it even got on me. Let's continue. Really, I think I've there's not a whole lot else I can say about this. This is just a brutal. This movie books it once the fire to Bob is lit. I feel like this movie just goes for it till the end. And
Yeah.
I like it or hate it. Any movie that just goes for it and carries this pace to the end.
Like Bob, it was keeping the pedal to the metal.
And I can't shame a movie that does that. It's like, even if it is a bad movie, at least you got me in and out. That's all I can. I admire you for that.
I was shouting at Doug. I was not making real sound. Stella was trying to wanted to try to watch the movie, but I was imploring Doug when he goes into the house and the baby's and he's going, dude, bash her now. Right. What are you waiting for? They will not hesitate to bash you. Right.
That's an interesting scene too, because I watching it remember thinking, there's still so much of this movie left. There's no way he's getting out of here. But at the same time, I'm like, shut the. See, I was going complete opposite of you. I'm like, you shut the fuck up. Watch your step and be quiet. Shut up and get out. But I know you're not going to. I
think it is pretty dumb of the mutants too. Like, they threw him in the freezer or whatever, whatever that thing was in. I don't know that it was plugged in. And clearly they had power. They were watching that generator. But why not just kill him?
Yeah.
I did not understand.
Out of all of them, other than the dogs, the one that gives you a little bit of a fight, you're gonna let that one survive?
Like, he fought honorably. Just throw him in the Chester.
If we eat the honorable one, the tough one raw, we gain his powers. Who knows? Well, what do you say? We rate this bitch, and see where we stand.
All right, and I will go first, Chris. I have a guess down for your rating.
Okay.
And I've got my rating down. I have not watched this a whole lot. I rented it. Why we did not see this in the theaters back in the '06s. We were renters. We were not movie theater people. We loved it. I mean, I love the movie theater, always have, but couldn't afford that back in those days. So, I remember renting this. I remember watching it. I remember the brutality of it, and you nailed it with the pacing. I won't even say it really starts slow, because it's not long before shit is happening and they're stranded, and then you immediately get tension because you know what's coming, but you're not prepared for how it comes. And once it starts, it doesn't let up. It just bam, 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 just keeps hammering at you. And then that stinger at the end where the survivors and dog are walking away, and then you get and so somebody is still watching them.
Yeah.
There's still more left. There's more to come. So I really forgot like how good those elements of this movie are, and so I'm proudly going to give it a solid 8.
There you have it.
So
I had you down for a 7.
Okay.
And for me, I'll just start off and say also an 8.
That is sticking to the point, Chris. My guess for you was an 8.
Hey.
So that gives us an average of 8. This is one of those rare times when we 100% agree on the rating.
Speaking of the pacing, the only thing that is kind of slows it down is literally the scenes where Doug is walking. And those, I feel like, are there just to break up the pace of it a little bit. But sometimes he's walking a lot. And I'm like, I don't need to see this part. Just
he's got to get his steps.
Yeah.
In. Chris,
it is about that time when the meters, everybody getting them big steps in for the day. And I mean, he was a, what did he call himself? A telecommunication provider or some such. But
he sells stuff
by the seashore. I really like this movie. I remember I did not rent this. I pirated it back in the day, and just on a whim. I don't even know that I'd heard of it beforehand. And like in watching it the first time, I was like, "Holy shit!" Like some of the violence and the effects. And I mean, I've bought it like 3 or 4 times on DVD and different Blu-rays and shit since. So leave me alone. If it's good, I'll buy it. No, that wasn't directed at you. That was at the universe.
I mean, it's
the lawyers.
I understood where it was headed, and you're not wrong. Like, if you let them sample, then it's worth it. Though, people are going to pay.
That is.
Oh, I think that's okay.
And, I like the characters. I like the effects. I think when it comes to that era of remakes, we have Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Amityville Horror was around then. Obviously, this it feels like a specific era. Sorry for punching my microphone. Of remakes. And to me, I'll be honest, this is my favorite one out of all of them. Maybe for the last, I wouldn't say 20 years, but maybe. It's certainly possible.
Okay.
But that's also hard to say, not seeing the original. Like, I don't know how far it strays, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter to me because I just like it for what it is. So there's that.
So, Collider did put a list together. Their 10 best horror makes of the 90s, 2000s. Dawn of the Dead was 2004.
Oh, I guess that's probably the bigger boy, wasn't it? Okay.
It came out in 2017, so that's a little older. So I won't even put that because we're talking 90s and the tops. 13 Ghosts, 2001. Amityville Horror in 2005 with Ryan Reynolds.
I liked it a lot.
House of Wax.
Is that the Paris Hilton movie? I've never watched that one.
Starring Paris Hilton.
Never watched
yes.
that one.
I Am Legend in 2007. The Crazies in 2010. So that's right on the edge.
That was great. That was a good one.
They listed The Ring was originally done in Japan in '98 and 2002 in America. I don't feel like that's the same thing.
I don't either.
You imported from a different country. Hills Have Eyes, 2006. The Rob Zombie Halloween was 2007.
No, that shouldn't be on any list. That didn't happen.
So,
I thought they canceled that. Actually, after David Gordon Green,
we need to watch it. We're going to have to do that. Because now we have Corey in the equation to
God damn it.
Yeah.
I guess if Hills Have Eyes ends on not a silver lining, this episode shouldn't either.
I'm sorry to be a downer, guys, but we're going to do the Rob Zombie Halloween. Michael Myers and his white horse. God.
Well, my dread level has been refilled, so I've got that going for me. Dave, before we get out of here, do you want to tell the fine people where they can reach us if they want to reach us?
Sure. You can hit us up on X. Look, douchiest name ever. At Sweetness1 with 6 E's, or at Horror House 2, and there are 2 of us.
You can email us horrorhousepodcast@gmail.com or go to the Horror House page on Facebook.
You can hit us up on Slasher. I'm Horror House Dave. Chris is Horror House Chris.
See how we did that?
The social media website for horror fans.
And last but not least, like us, rate us wherever you're listening, and share us around, man. If you have a friend, a cousin, an uncle, aunt, a friend, an ex,
a close stranger,
manager that you don't think is a dickhead, and they're into horror.
A work friend, a work wife, a work husband.
Is there such a thing as a work cousin? That's a thing I've never thought about. Do people have work cousins?
Oh, I mean, you have. I've never heard of a work brother or work sister.
True. Why is it always husbands and wives?
Only work wives and moms.
Wives
and husbands, and I have heard of work.
I
moms.
have never heard that.
So I had a work
I totally
mom.
Understand that. Thinking back, yeah.
No, I had a work mom in Madison. She was always in me.
Well, there you go. Share it.
So,
share it with all these people that you think will like it, or
random strangers. Just share it with random.
And we will give you 17,000 Horror House bucks. The new Horror House currency that doesn't exist for every person you bring us.
We will double any discounts you get when using the Horror House 2 code on your website.
Do you want to pay $40 for Netflix a month? Use code Horror House 2.
We'll charge you extra and give you less.
Instead of getting one season of a TV show, they'll give you like an episode or a couple or however, whatever. But until next time, honestly, I don't even know what we're doing next time. Nor do I know where my list is to know such things. So I can't tease the things.
I think the list you gave me last had us watching a sequel to a movie we already watched.
Dave, you're the best hinter.
If that's all it took to make you know what it is.
As you said that, I did get it open. Dave, you're the best hinter giver that I know of. So if you have a good hint for the rabble, or if you just want to flat out tell them, either way, what's coming next week in the Horror House?
Let's just say it's the sequel to one of our top rated movies.
And we have talked about it on the show. We have a whole episode on it.
Yes.
And it is from a while ago.
I like it better than Chris does. I like it better than Chris does.
Low bar,
at
Dave.
This point. We'll see where we land next week.
All right. We are out of here. We will talk at you then. In the same cemetery, different grave.
Love it. Let's kick some dirt on this episode.